What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. C2C Radio Show is live at C2CRadioshow.com, Spreaker.com, and all of your favorite podcast distribution sites, including Apple, Amazon, Google Play. We're everywhere. I'm Stan Grubb, and my tag team partners, Brian Taylor, is here.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Rob
You sound like you're like a mile from the mic.
A mile from the mic. Let me keep working on that. And how are you, Rob?
I done broke it.
Huh. Let's try that.
Oh, I'm Rob, by the way. That's awesome. I'm glad to be here.
Sounds like the fellas are having some trouble hearing me. That's why. Okay. Is that better?
I think so.
Alrighty then. Weird. The microphone was not working very well. So, gentlemen, how was your weekend?
Oh, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Rob, how about you, buddy? Did you have a good weekend?
It was delightful.
So last week we talked about the WrestleMania hangover. Brian
talked about how Vince hurt you.
That's right, Vince did. He hurt me deeply. It was very painful. I'm considering other therapy options, but that's okay. Mental health is important, so you have to make sure you consider those. But this week, unless Brian has something he wants to add to the conversation, I figured maybe we could talk about the future.
All right.
Brian, any thoughts on the post-Mania hangover before we move on?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the future, you should know what I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, I never said I was psychic. I just said I wanted to talk about the future, not predict it.
So, let's see if I get this right.
Get it right.
Thoughts and opinions on the Monday night after WrestleMania, or the whole weekend in general?
We can qualify it as the week after Mania and of course Mania itself, if you have anything, because you were away last week. So I think if you have some opinion to put to it, I would absolutely think our listeners want to hear it.
Yeah, but I'm confused. So do you want like Monday forward?
Sure.
Or Saturday, Sunday?
Start from. You know what though? Actually, I want to hear your process here, your thought process, because you know how mad I was. Rob knows how mad I was. The world has heard it. But I really would like to hear your thoughts on Mania and the Raw after.
At this point in stage of my life, I would much rather hear from you and why you were hurt so bad.
Wow. So you just want to go all the way back over last
week. You were hurt. Like, I don't recall, like, the last time you were so butthurt. I mean, you were, like, really butthurt.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Yeah. No offense, but
no, I'm not offended by it because you're right. I mean, I was took. Like, when is the last time you remember being so emotionally drawn into a wrestling show where it pissed you off like that?
I mean, y'all may have a different opinion, but. Well, so I don't know if I would. I don't know if I can recall like seriously, like you scared even me at how butthurt.
Oh wow! Okay. Well, I remember you saying, "Damn, Stan, you're really pissed off." And I was like, "Yeah." I was ready to throw things.
I don't know. And again, y'all have seen. Y'all again would have memories just like I would, the amount of wrestling we watched together through the years.
Yeah.
Maybe Kurt Hennig turning on the Horseman, maybe But again, I don't really recall being like that like emotionally. Like, I mean, I was hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I don't remember just like that.
The last time I ever heard somebody outwardly that mad was when the pay-per-view cut off, and we were all like, "What the shit?" Where Piper comes out, and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Oh yeah, Halloween Havoc '96. Yeah. Wow.
I've just come to the realization that 2 nights of WrestleMania, 80% is going to suck.
Well,
because it's fluff.
It is a lot. It's a lot of shit packed into one show, 2 nights. It is a lot. It's more exhausting, and I don't care what anybody says. AEW pay-per-views, yeah, they're long, but generally speaking, pretty much every match is worth the while. Worth the watch. Worth the time.
Look, let's stop changing the subject here. We're doing a deep dive into your psyche right now.
Tell us how you feel about WrestleMania.
It all started with my dad. No.
Oh, your dad beat your ass.
You know what it is there's not much left in wrestling that gets me emotionally invested. There really isn't. Like CM Punk's comeback, I was extremely excited about that. I was pumped.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? Because I think I've voiced the opinion on Cody before.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we did a prediction of who I said, but I probably went 50-50 on that it should be Cody, but Roman was probably going to win, which would be, I think probably where I would have fallen in line.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I want you to think about this for a second. Since Cody has been in the WWE, what has Cody done to dethrone Roman Reigns? Now, again, let's put this all into perspective here, right?
Excuse
me. So we'll buy into the lie that Roman Reigns is the #1 T-shirt merchandise seller of all times, right? They came out with that. We were all quite flabbergasted.
Wait, what?
You remember that when they said Roman Reigns sold more T-shirts than John Cena?
Oh, yeah. That was like a 15.
Steve Austin.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. No, because again, you still don't see him in the stands. You still don't see him at the Walmarts. You don't see him nowhere. But okay, whatever you want to say with the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no mistake in the fact that Roman Reigns is quite possibly the hottest act right now. Not only in the WWE, but probably in the world, right? They've done wonders with it. They turned him bad. They gave him Paul Heyman, and they've just clicked, right? It's just worked. So, in that regard, if you're a booker or a promoter, you explain to me how you or why you thought Cody was going to win.
My personal opinion, or if I was a promoter?
Let's do a promoter, and then this may
get
to the personal side of things. And again, the question is, if you're a promoter,
right,
and Roman Reigns is no hot, why would you put somebody like Cody over who has not even done anything in your company yet? And then again, I want to touch on what I'm asking here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I'm a promoter and I'm looking at this from an overall story perspective, right? The overall story was basically Sammy, KO, and Cody against the Bloodline. That's the overall story. Now, not all working together, but you have 2 parallel stories against the Bloodline, right? So night 1, Sammy and KO against the Usos. Your build has been for a good amount of time. Roman has beaten everyone. The Usos have beaten everyone. there's quote-unquote no one left, Sammy has to choose between his best friend and the bloodline. They built this really, really well. And so from a promoter perspective, if I'm looking at it from that hat, I'm saying, well, yeah, so you're going to be taking down – I looked at it like the Dudes of Attitudes versus the Horsemen.
Yeah, but I'm strictly on Cody. Forget everything else.
Okay. Well,
what has Cody done in your mind to have him go over the hottest act in pro wrestling right now? As a promoter, you tell me why you would book him over Roman.
Well, nothing, because I don't think he could beat FTR. You said hottest act. You got to be careful. I think,
no. I honestly think Roman is truly like he's to me. If I'm saying this, I think Roman is truly on a different level right now.
I think from a promoter perspective, the storyline was intertwined. And maybe that's where I goofed up, because I looked at it like that. I looked at it as this is an intertwined story to, I don't want to say break up the bloodline, but to topple them, at least for a period.
But again, as a promoter, business, right? I don't want the booker aspect. I want the promoter. I want you to put yourself in Vince McMahon's shoes.
Ew, no thank you. Gomez Adams looking.
If you are generating so much money off of Roman, why would you put Cody over? Now, there's no doubt Cody puts butts in the seat, right?
Absolutely.
But who puts more butts in the seat right now? Roman or Cody?
Ew. I don't like this conversation already. I guess you have to say Roman. Okay, you have to say the bloodline, realistically. You have to acknowledge that the bloodline is actually doing it. Okay,
so this leads me to my next point as far as the promoter aspect of it.
Uh-huh.
Right? You had virtually little to no build-up for quite possibly what should have been, in the fans' minds, right, as the biggest WrestleMania main event since WrestleMania 3.
It sure is how they built it.
No, but the problem is they didn't build it to that grand of a stage, right? We have to remember Cody got hurt.
Yes.
Right? Which then stalls the story. Okay? But again, the other parts of the story, the overall story, are still playing through.
Yes.
Right? So Sammy and Kevin and that and, Jay and Jimmy, they're all just playing through. Right? But I want you to think about this. If Cody hadn't got hurt, and we could have started this at, say, what's the big one before the Rumble? No, 2 before the Rumble. What's 2 before the Rumble?
Survivor Series?
What comes after the Survivor Series? Do you know?
I don't know what that pay-per-view was called.
All right.
I'd have to look it up.
All right, so let's say Cody doesn't get hurt. We start this the way they started WrestleMania, but it's the main event for Survivor Series. Cody loses. The Monday after Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar gets involved, turns on Cody, right? So we're just moving these back 2 months. Pay-per-view after the Survivor Series, Brock beats Cody. Because honestly, I don't see how Cody can beat Brock, right? But the stipulation for the match is if you lose to Brock, you don't get a title match. You'll never be able to fight again. Unless you win the Royal Rumble. Cody wins the Rumble. So now we have 6 months build up as opposed to whatever you may call the little Rumble forward. Because that was realistically only, a month and a half? After that?
Yeah.
Okay? But you see what I'm saying? So, for a promoter, in my opinion, it makes sense for him to lose and to push the story. Because ultimately, when it does happen, it's going to be that much bigger. It's going to be huge when it happens. But it's also going to be better because people are so emotionally involved like you were that I keep baiting them on the hook. I want you to be so supercharged that when Cody does beat Roman, Cody jumps Roman as the hottest ticket on the planet from a promoter. Right? That's my thought process for the promoter and why I think it was the right decision.
So you think Cody losing at Mania this year was the right decision?
Yes.
Okay.
After thinking about it, do I necessarily agree with it? No. But again, if we're now talking, the WWE has tricked us all into pushing a long-term story, it would have been a smart decision. Because again, now it leads me to the other part. Why, as a fan, did you get that mad?
I think what I saw was a lot of things happening, and to me it seemed like, well, we're finally going to get a quote-unquote legitimate happy ending at WrestleMania. Because how many years in a row, seriously, have we gotten just a lackluster end to the show? Night 2 has been, I mean, since they went to a 2-night setup, Night 2 has historically sucked. So I think what I saw of it, and a lot of it probably comes back to, outside of wrestling, having that be like, okay, this is what I'm looking forward to. It can't. I've said it many times. You can't possibly screw this story up. And Brian, to your defense, you've said many times, oh yeah, they can, and they did. But I seriously felt like this is almost a slam dunk. It's just impossible. Not even Vince McMahon, and that's a mistake right there saying it.
It can't get shittier. Oh,
right. You can't possibly be that dense. If I'm looking or talking to Vince and company, you guys can't possibly be this dense to think that this will be a good idea. Well, yeah. And it's looking more and more like they're going to try to take this all the way to next year to Philly.
All right, so let me
go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Because I think in this particular situation, we have to look at the past before we can look to the future. Okay? Do you remember in the 80s when they would have feuds that lasted a year?
Sure.
Or more? I mean, Dusty versus the Horseman went on forever. Sting and the Horseman went on forever. Freebirds and the Von Erichs, you name it, right? These things stretched, right? So I love that you're so invested to begin with, even though I don't quite get why you were that mad. And again, maybe I'm just, I haven't had a storyline in forever to get like that. But for me, right, just for me personally, and again, I cannot believe I'm saying this, I'm not sure they're going to get this wrong. Because I can, again, honestly see a decent little run with Brock. Now, it's either going to go two ways, right? Brock's going to wreck him, and then, at the very end, it's going to be a stipulation that if you lose to Brock again or whatever, maybe inside Hell in a Cell or something.
Oh, Jesus.
If you lose to Brock for the third time in Hell in a Cell, you will not get a world title shot. Right? So Cody beats Brock in Hell in a Cell for the third title shot, or for the title shot, right? But now, guess what? All the little Cody fans, right? Oh my God, this guy's getting built like Hulk Hogan now. Because now we're starting to get somebody who we can all believe can beat Roman because we just beat Brock. And then, now he's now got to run through, the what do they call that group?
The Bloodline?
Yeah, that's it. He's got to run through the Bloodline with Kevin and Sammy. because they're going to be his true friends. So now we're going to get all types of six-mans. You're just going to stretch it out. And maybe by the time they get to next WrestleMania, and look at the emotion you had this particular night, what do you think your emotions are going to be like next year? And Cody beats him.
Depends on the build.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is you've had a year build. You've had a straight, legitimate year build for next year's WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll bet you'll cry.
No. I feel like the moment's missed.
He will be the first one to buy the T-shirt on the. Cody just won the World Championship. What are you going to do?
Cry.
So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say to that comment or question. Like, yeah, it's in the moment of that main event ending that way. Yeah, absolutely, I was furious, and I can't really remember being that emotionally charged in a wrestling show, like. And I'm sure there's been a time since, but in a long, long time, like maybe the 90s. And I don't know if it was just, as Hulk Hogan would say, I just worked myself into a shoot and just said, I'm all in, blah. Okay, cool. That's probably where I was. And I think the difficult part of it is, with not just you saying it, but quite a few people saying, what did Cody do? What did Cody do to earn winning the title, so to speak? And there's not a good answer. I mean, yeah, he won the Royal Rumble, but we already know now after quite a few years that winning the Royal Rumble doesn't necessarily guarantee squat. So that ain't it. I don't know if it was just I feel like it was a compilation of a lot of things. Just buying into the story and getting behind what I thought was going to be just a full-fledged good guys prevail in the ending. And I'm a pretty big fan of that. You know that I am. So I think I just saw it that way. And when it didn't happen that way, I was like, damn, like, how do you botch it that bad? And you got to remember, like, this is what I said the day it happened, like, minutes after it happened, and then the next day. And it took a bit for me to really have my brain go, okay, back up a little bit. What did – because you ask a very good question, because it's a question I asked myself, and it even irritated me when I first thought about it, because it's like, well, he went through the pec injury. He went through – everything he went through in AEW, and then it hit me. WWE still looks at it like, well, WWE fans don't know what he did in AEW. WWE fans saw him as Stardust last. So, yeah. And it's not like they can show footage from All In, or his ROH days, or New Japan days, or his Impact run. So the inside fan, the super fan, so to speak, knows it. But what's that? 10%, if that, of the audience?
Okay, so let's stop on that point for a second.
Sure.
So, from a promoter, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I take that train of thought that the majority of my audience may not even know who he is,
mm-hmm.
and I bring him in and I put him in a program with Seth Rollins,
mm-hmm.
and he gets hurt, and he's out for 8 months. Is that about right?
Yeah.
So he's out for 8 months. right? Now, again, when he comes out at the Rumble, the music hits. Okay, yeah, they're all trained monkeys anyway. Whoever's there, everybody's screaming for, people are going to scream for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's just like Roman Reigns. They'll boo the piss out of him, but as soon as Roman throws up the one, everybody in the audience throws up the one.
Right.
Right? So again, the level when Cody comes out doesn't really concern me because, again, I know that most of my audience probably don't watch other wrestling programs, and I can be sure of that based off of numerics. Right?
Yeah,
the numbers. Yes. Right? So I know this. I know I'm the top. But again, if I know that part of my audience probably doesn't really have a clue, I need to push this guy and give him time to develop. And again, had Cody not gotten hurt, WrestleMania probably would have been different because I would have had 6 months to build a story around as opposed to 2. Or I would have been able to go for a year if I would have almost been at a year by the time WrestleMania hit.
So do you think the plan would have been Brock all along before Roman? And it's the injury that just set everything out of cattywampus?
No, I think this was the plan all along. Was somewhere throughout the year, Cody gets the title shot, Cody loses. Brock turns. Because, again, it's easy to explain why Brock would turn. Right? Like, there has to be a reason. And I haven't, don't think I've watched Raw in a week or so. So I'm not sure if the reason has come out yet. But with Paul Heyman and Brock having history, I'm sure there's a reason somewhere on why he turns. So again, all that could have taken place months ago with a build up to a big one. Because again, I don't know if I think it was a press conference. I think Roman did a press conference after WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Do you remember what he said?
Yeah. It was irritating as
What'd
hell.
he say?
It still irritates me. He said, "We're not making fast food, y'all. We're making filet mignon. We're only in the,
right.
what do you say, second inning."
Right. And then he said in the past that there's nobody that is as big as me to take the title.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to agree with him. There's nobody. I mean, I would expect nothing less even if Kenny went over there. Or Okada. Sure, they can out-wrestle the shit out of them. Sure, they're more entertaining to watch. But at the end of the day, they're not on the same hype level.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out a way to get Cody up to that level. Right? What was one of the big things about when he was beating Strowman and all this stuff? Right? We all knew somebody should have beat him.
Mm-hmm.
But as it turns out, Strowman is down at the bottom of the thing, and Roman's white hot because Strowman didn't have habit to put asses in the seats. In order to dethrone Roman, you got to have somebody that's going to put twice as many asses in the seats. And a 2-month build-up just isn't going to do it. But I love your energy. I really did. I mean, I was laughing. I just didn't understand it.
I don't know what to really say to that. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just one of those deals where, there's not much in WWE that I get excited about. Like, okay, like they got the draft coming up. I always enjoy the draft, but let's be real. The draft is in 2 weeks, right? What exactly are they going to do with this draft that's going to make it make any damn sense? Probably nothing. We're gonna get splitting of tag teams, which makes no damn sense. We're gonna get maybe the splitting of the titles, WWE and Universal, and that ain't gonna make no damn sense because they're not gonna make it work. And we're gonna get to WrestleMania 40, and people are gonna look at the draft and go, "God, that draft didn't do a damn thing," just like they have every other year. So when it comes down to it, I mean, I guess this was just one of those things where it's like, man, this is really cool. Cody's actually getting what I thought was being built for truly a big payoff. And maybe you're right. Maybe he actually still sees that, and maybe it's 40, maybe it's SummerSlam, who knows? But at the end of the day, in the moment, yeah, it was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's frustrating because, I'd like to be able to say, God, Triple H just does such a great job with building the story. And yeah, he kind of did at times. But, was it really? Yeah, the Rumble, I was happy to see him win. I didn't want to see anybody else. I damn sure didn't want to see it be Seth Rollins and Roman again. I think we've seen that a lot. And I wasn't really looking to see, I don't know. There was nobody else that I thought made sense. Sammy winning at Elimination Chamber would have been amazing. It would have thrown everything completely off kilter. But that would have been kind of cool. So outside of Sammy, I don't know. The whole, it's not even an experiment. The whole plan with Roman now is just I think you may have said it earlier, Hulk Hogan. It really is kind of Hogan-esque. They're just like, okay, well, we're just going to keep throwing people at him, have him beat everybody. They're going to get him to 1,000 days, which should be about the summertime. And they'll probably look at it and go, let's go to Mania. We got to 1,000. We got to SummerSlam. Let's go to Mania. And then they're going to get to Mania, and most likely they're going to go, can we get to 2,000 days?
Let's go to Forbidden Door. No.
Right. right. Can we get it to the point where Conor McGregor comes to WWE? You know what I mean? Just throw crazy theory in after crazy theory.
But again, though, at the end of the day, a lot of people may be missing. They're so emotionally invested that they may not see the forest for the trees. Right? Again, for all the trash we've talked about, Vince, right? And again, I can bet you I'll lay money he has had more misses than he has had hits. Right? But there is no denying that when he finds that one true legitimate superstar, that he cannot make money. From Hogan to HBK to Stone Cold to The Rock to Mick Foley, and the list goes on and on and on. But at the same time, you have these. You have to have the polar opposite to push the program, and I think that's what he's got here. And nobody has patience for the WWE or Vince McMahon anymore, and that's why we're just like, oh, he's going to wreck this. No. I am actually quite curious how this is going to play out, and I am now intrigued. Again, I made no bones that I thought what they were doing with Roman was wrong. Right? I'm the first one of the three to jump ship on the WWE. Bash them, talk crap about them, whatever. But if they've got me intrigued on what comes next, they may have hit. Not just me intrigued, but you so emotionally invested.
Right.
They may have hit on something, and we just have to have patience and let it play out. Which is
gross.
It's part of what the modern audience doesn't have.
Rob, he said the thing. He said, let it play out.
Normally he says, change the channel.
Yeah, I'm stunned. Let it play out. Wow.
Let it play out. Let's let it play out.
Did any of you see the video clip of Cody opening the box from Triple H?
No.
I don't know where I saw it. I was trying to look it up while y'all were talking, but there was some video, it was on social media somewhere, where Cody.
You cut out there. You cut out. I didn't hear the first part.
Where Cody did what now?
There's a video of Cody sitting there in a plastic tub, and he opens up this plastic suitcase tub thing, and there's a sign, there's a card, and it says, "Hey, I think you need this," or I thought you wanted this. H.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I know what you're talking
as
about,
he
yeah.
pulls it out, it's the Stardust outfit.
Yeah, it was a clip from one of the BTE episodes. And he's sitting there in the locker room, and he's got this big old suitcase thing, and it says, "Hope this still fits, H." That is.
I might have seen it.
That's where it came. I was like, I saw it on social media I'm going, oh, that's so true.
Well, but again, no, I think in this one we have to let it play out.
No,
If they
I
do
refuse.
nothing
I
with
ain't letting
him-
nothing play out.
If they don't give him the title after this has run its course, then they fucked up early. But if he gets the title and he's that much bigger of a star, that's how wrestling should be. Or sports entertainment. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to use the wrestling term.
Yeah, we're talking WWE here. Get it right.
Yeah.
If, in fact, I can go this far. I can say if, in fact, they are able to maneuver their way to making Cody actually a bigger star with this, if this pays off and I end up being wrong, and my guess is still that they're going to 40. They're going to WrestleMania in Philly, and Cody's going to win it there. Although a lot of people seem to think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Look, I am. I don't know why I'm such a big Cody fan. I just think I am. I don't know how else to describe it. I like Cody. It's cool. But to me, if he wins it at SummerSlam, then everything you did at WrestleMania with the whole emotional aspect, especially from my perspective, to me, it's cheap. If you're going to go the distance, go the distance. Yeah, maybe it pays off, maybe it doesn't. Maybe fans react great, maybe they don't. Maybe they missed the moment. I still believe they missed their moment. But I'd be willing to be wrong.
Wait, there was an emotional aspect? Are you talking about this past WrestleMania or in the future?
So if they can take what was built in my opinion, what was built this past year for Cody and translate that to Mania next year and a payoff like that, that's huge. I don't think they can do it.
But, all right, so do you honestly think there was that much emotion invested in? Now, again, take yourself outside of the Cody fan you are. Do you actually think there was that much emotion for Cody?
If you look at
That's
the
why they're
reaction,
building it.
yeah, well, look at the reaction by the crowd when he lost.
No. Yeah, I'm talking like again from his start in the return to the WWE.
Yeah.
To WrestleMania. If you're not a legitimate Cody fan, how much were you truly invested? Because again, you have to remember he was out for 8 months. Mm-hmm. And those 2 months from the Rumble to WrestleMania, a month and a half or whatever it is, how much true emotion did you get? Other than a couple of promos where they just took little shots at each other. Did they come to blows during that time?
He and Roman?
Yeah.
No, they did actually a really good job of keeping it only with promos.
Right. So you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like, again, what you have to understand, too, is part of the reaction are those fans that are, like, so against Roman keeping that title that they would have booed for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You also have to look at the emotion was not for Cody. The emotion was for Sammy just prior to that losing. Everybody was still pissed over Sammy losing. That when Cody lost, it just kind of overflowed into that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, do I think there was emotion involved? Yes, but I think there's a lot of other factors. If you take a Cody super fan out of the equation, the average fan will probably tell you, well, he should have lost to Sammy.
The reaction I saw on social media, the reaction I saw on everything from TikTok to Twitter, Facebook, you name it, was really split. There was a lot of Bloodline fans saying that Roman still the top dog, so to speak. There were a lot of fans, Cody-wise, that were like, I can't believe they actually didn't do it. They didn't pull it off, quote unquote. So there were a lot of people that felt one way or the other. So did it draw emotion? Yeah. Can it draw even more? Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I am curious to see if they can. I don't know if I'm as invested as I was this past Mania as I will be for, whatever they decide to try to do the payoff. Like, if they could actually do a title shot at SummerSlam, have him lose again, and make him have to fight his way through the Rumble again to get a title shot. They could, and that could be an interesting ride. I won't deny that. As a matter of fact, that could be intriguing the more I think about it.
Yes, again, I think we forget sometimes the lessons of the past.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean,
so Dusty...
There's only but so much more that an industry like this can do. I mean, for fans like us, the older fans, because how much more is there really to show us that we haven't, unfortunately, already seen? And I guess I just, like I said, worked myself into a shoot about it because I just totally thought there's no way they're not going to do this. But the reality was I didn't think. I likened it to the Horsemen and the Dudes with Attitudes, but the reality is Sting and Ric Flair's rivalry by 1990, when he wins the title from Flair, it was almost 2 years because it started at the Clash of Champions where him and Flair went the distance. That was a lot longer than 1 year.
And Dusty and Flair went at it for years, and after you got out of the first 2 years, Dusty never held that title again.
Right.
But yet the feud went on forever. Same thing again with the Freebirds and the Von Erichs. Hogan and the Heenan family. Hogan never lost that title to the Heenan family.
Yeah.
All right. Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, right? Again, was a smart build that took time. Hogan and the Macho Man, it was a smart build that took time, and you didn't see it come until it happened. But if Cody beats Roman, right, at WrestleMania, they just wipe their hands. This is over. Because I'm sure Roman's going to get time off once he loses. I'm sure he's going to get some time off because Lord knows he's earned it, right? If they just again wiped their hands at WrestleMania and moved into the next one, Roman's poor little star probably would have started to plummet. Because at that point, with the Usos losing the tag titles, the breakup really begins. Because ultimately, that's what's going to happen when Cody does win. Like, the bloodline is going to start falling apart for real. Which means your tag division is going to suffer. The world title division is going to suffer. No telling what they're doing with whatever. The guy with the S's in his name.
Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
The guy with the S's in his name.
Yeah. Whatever they're going to do with that guy.
That's crazy.
But again, though, his Roman star will start to decline. So you have to be very calculated with when you pull this off.
I suppose next you want me to acknowledge that Sonny may have had a good point that Brock and Cody could be a good match.
No, I listen. It's your opinion, right? I absolutely found it baffling that you just went straight like ham.
It's the first time I can really remember doing that. And, Punk coming back, I was psyched. That was cool. Shawn Michaels winning the title at WrestleMania 12, I was hyped for that. But nothing close to that reaction. I think the last time... Ooh, wow. Okay, so this is interesting. The last time I really felt that angry was when the Rockers broke up. That's 1991. 92-ish.
Well, and then the time that Goldust tricked you.
Well, that's emotionally scarring in a different way.
The other thing too is you're looking at a sale. Cody
Yeah.
is an unproven commodity as a world champ. Roman, I'm telling you, is white hot. He is supernova.
I can't believe you're saying these positive things about Roman.
I know. I've never thought I'd hear Brian say he was white hot.
No, listen,
Supernova.
what did I tell you? If you turn him bad, right?
He's still going to
Guess what?
suck. I think that's what you said.
I don't
He's
think
gonna
anybody
be on
could have
fire.
ever predicted Roman Reigns embracing the heel turn as well as he did. I'll say that.
No, the best thing they did, which I did, I don't know if anybody brought this up. You know, again, turn him bad. You put him in the U.S. title and let him get a little bit there before you move him up, right? I don't think any of us anticipated Paul Heyman because I guess Paul would have been with Brock at the time.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing that ever happened to Roman. And again, the stuff they're doing with the bloodline intrigues me. I want to see how this plays out. Because, again, if they do it right, it'll be the best thing the WWE has done since probably Hulkamania. Or maybe Austin and The Rock.
So that was kind of how I looked at it last week. And what I said was, and this was a question that wasn't my original idea. I heard this off of, I don't know, some podcast I heard. I think it was SAP, but I'm not sure. Basically put, Roman says during his press conference, we're just in the second inning, y'all, right? And I thought, and I agreed with this when I heard it, but it's 41-0. So, like, yeah, you got 7 innings to go, but do you really want to watch a one-sided thing? And that was how I looked at it. You know what I mean?
You know why you want to watch that? You know why you want to watch that one-sided game? Because when that guy hits that one home run and puts one point on the board, you're going to cheer your ass off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I will use Dusty and the Horsemen. Right? At first, it was Dusty getting his ass beat by the Horsemen. Then it was Magnum TA getting involved. Then it was the Rock and Roll Express. And it just grew into this thing that literally carried Crockett promotion for years. And the Horsemen always had the leg up because there were 4 of them. Well, 5 of them if you count JJ, 6 if you count Baby Doll when she was 7 if you count Luger when he was just the associate. Whatever. You see what I'm saying? But again, it was at the point where everybody loved the Horsemen, but you just had such sympathy for Dusty when he was just getting straight up mauled by him. Because you knew when Dusty started beating up Tully Blanchard, you cheered. Even though 30 seconds ago you team Tully.
Let's do this real quick. I'm hearing a lot of echo and I don't know, some weird thing with the audio. Let's pause for a second. Let me reset my connection and call back into us. We'll go ahead and pick up right from here because I want to make sure that the rest of this conversation comes out clean so that it's easier to edit, but at the same time so everybody can hear it. Can we do that?
No, I don't think so, man. You're just, I mean, right now you're being like Austin Theory or something.
Ew. Oh, now I'm definitely going to hang up on you. Give me 20 seconds. We'll be right back, folks. If you're listening live to C2CRadioshow.com, give us about 20 seconds and just refresh your page. If you're listening in the replay, it'll hopefully be edited together and you won't even notice. Be right back, everybody.
Acknowledge me, Sam.
Oh, no. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back live. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Appreciate that. Had to get our audio issue fixed up. That's probably my bad. Good old Skype in Locust Grove. It always loves us. Brian, before we went to break, you said 2 words that I can't believe you've ever said. I can't believe it. Acknowledge me? Really?
That's right. Acknowledge me.
Roman Reigns has poisoned your soul, sir.
I am man enough to say I was wrong, right?
Wow.
Nobody could have predicted this back then, however many years ago it was. Nobody could have predicted this. And I will admit that, again, this is an intriguing storyline for me. And although I missed that match due to power outage,
Which absolutely sucks, by the way. That I would have been even madder if that had happened to me.
yeah, I mean, I think I finally got to see him lose. So, Cody lose. But again, it's like we forget what we're watching. To me, like this whole thing is about like the fan base as a whole has forgotten what we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like they used to do stuff like this all the time. They used to build storylines that took forever to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, what have we been clamoring for decades?
Yeah.
Storylines.
Bring back long-term stories. Bring it back. Make us feel. And it did. That's that, and I think that's what's crazy. That's what brings me back to the frame of mind. I'm like, man, yeah, it's a little embarrassing. I don't mind. It is what it is. But it is cool that for a minute I was just right back to where I was as a little kid, watching my favorite tag team bust up. And it's only this just now that I really realized and thought back that far as to what the last time I really, really, really felt like that. And it's like, damn, you have a good point. I really didn't look at it that way. But it's easy to get caught up in it, and because you get in the moment, right? Like for you, it was Flair and the Horsemen and Dusty, and I didn't even discover any of that stuff until right around 90 when Sting beats Flair. Mm-hmm. So I learned backwards, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But Hogan and Savage still is one of my favorite builds because of the fact you said it. You didn't see it coming. You didn't see them forming the Mega Powers coming, and you sure didn't see them splitting the way they did on Saturday night's main event. Mm-hmm. They did time it very, very well, and it stretched the span of almost a year and a half, which is nuts.
And again, you can't necessarily do this with any Joe Blow, right?
Very true.
But when you have the opportunity, because you have somebody the caliber of Cody, and you have somebody that's been able to be your standard bearer for many years in Roman, why then would I waste it in 2 months?
Well, with Cody, the interesting thing is, like, and realistically speaking, there were hints that we got that I know for me, I didn't pay any mind to it. Cody comes out to the ring, and Rob, we talked about it last week. He gives his weight belt to -1. Amanda Huber's there, his wife is there, his mom is there, his daughter's there. And normally, when those types of people are there, they're interacting after the match, not before. And I didn't even think about it. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. That's a real emotional moment. Cool. -1. Yeah. Oh, wait.
And
they were about to kick me right square in the balls.
Right, because you've been trained.
Right.
Throughout the years that when family's in the audience and they show family.
Oh, it's happening. It's real.
It's happening. Right. Yes. Right. And again, though, and to me, this is kind of what's even funnier, right? When AEW does this, right, where they just swerve the piss out of you, it's like, oh, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You just know somebody's about to win a title, and then all of a sudden, what? What just happened? FTR is a prime example, right? You brought them up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, well that Yeah, Tony knows what he's doing. That makes sense now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now the WWE actually swerved your ass. Well, not just you, but a lot of people. Yeah.
80,000 at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah. I mean, legit swerved them. And it was a dumb call. Or that made so much sense to do it on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Sammy. Now, I will say I do think Sammy should have won because Sammy actually had a year-long storyline.
Yes.
And nobody could have predicted how hot that was. Now, Sammy could have won it for a night and lost it on Friday.
Yep.
Right? And it would have been perfect. Because Sammy would have got his moment. He would have been world champion. I don't need Sammy long-term world champion.
No.
But for a week,
Rob's
I'm
definitely
okay
in agreement
with
there.
Yeah.
No.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But we're not looking for Cody to be a champ for a week. Cody is probably being looked at to carry, the ball after Cody. I mean, not Cody, but Roman takes a break.
Mm-hmm.
So Cody wouldn't have been the right one. Yeah. No. So Sammy would have been the right one. Cody needs a story.
Right.
Is for me.
It has been surmised or predicted, whatever you want to say, that Roman is basically headed to Hollywood, and it won't be much longer. Now, whether that's April of next year or SummerSlam, we don't know. But it's long been predicted that that's the direction. So, yeah, you have a good point. With the build for Cody, him winning the title has to be longer than just a couple of months. Right. We said it actually when he first came back. If your goal is to build Cody and have him be the guy, it's got to be a lot longer than just a couple of months and you're done. Right. Otherwise, you're just going the same direction you were.
Right. And again, he got hurt, out for 8 months. There goes his build. You have to start fresh at Rumble. And while it would have made sense to the fans, financially long term, it would have hurt you in the pocket.
I guess the real story here, the real result that we'll see will be when we finally get that, okay, Cody is getting his shot at, we'll just say SummerSlam, and how did ticket sales do? You know what I mean? Because they're going to Detroit. I think they're going to another stadium. So if they sell out, which is likely, I guess I'm wrong and they're right.
No, it's not. It's not really about wrong or right. It's like you have to remember that they swerved you. They proved that they're still in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
By doing something that nobody legitimately saw coming. And it really, I want you to think about this. In that moment, right? If you took that moment into the 50s when grandmothers would line up the front row, somebody would have got stabbed that night.
I think I compared it to when Taker lost the streak.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Like, we're all still like, what?
I mean, the air was sucked out of that stadium. When that pinfall was counted and Roman's music hits, 80,000 people were like, oh, holy shit, what happened? When Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar after, 4 F5s? The air was sucked out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to fathom that roller coaster. And I guess it's because, and we've always joked about it, but it is completely true. There is a huge short-term attention span
Mm-hmm.
in the industry, and WWE just, well, I guess I could say, yeah, WWE, at least in the moment, proved it's not their fault.
No, I mean, it's their fault, but because before this, I mean, you really got, I mean, think about it. When you had Austin and The Rock and WCW, they had decent storylines.
Mm-hmm.
And then once WCW got bought out and there was no competition, they just said, screw it, just throw shit on the wall and see what sticks.
So, with that being said, there is, I mean, of course, we could talk about Cody and all this stuff all day long, but there is conversation now that we're about to see yet another AEW TV show, and now we're hearing now that it's possible they're gonna do an actual brand split in AEW. A roster
I have nothing
split.
wrong with that. As long as you keep them separate. That's the problem with the draft.
Right.
You promise you're going to keep them separate, and the next thing you know, you have everybody just crossing back and forth.
I mean, Tony Khan did well with finally separating Ring of Honor and AEW. He has gotten that separated, and he's done pretty good with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't fault that. Is it? It's hard to think about because they've only been around for 4 years, but AEW does a roster split. There's now rumor that CM Punk is coming back in June, which is good. This is a good thing. We could get the Elite versus CM Punk and FTR. I mean, that's where it seems to be headed. We've seen a lot of rosters that were really big, really filled. How do you approach a roster split with AEW?
I agree with hiring is like, you know, the constant time where the Street Profits and New Day got drafted to the different brands and they just handed the belts off to each.
Yeah, that was irritating.
Is annoying, but we'll see how it goes with AEW.
Currently, with the rumor that I'm talking about, we're hearing that TNT is going to get a Saturday night show for AEW called Collision. CM Punk's return is rumored for June 21st. We have Adam Cole back. Kenny Omega is back at pretty well peak level. The Bucks are back, but I think Matt Jackson's still dealing with a shoulder injury, but it seems to be going well. The tag team division in AEW is being built back up. The women's division is pretty active. There's a lot. There's room there to move these titles around, to move these folks around. And if it turns out that CM Punk is like, you know what, I don't want to work with Hangman Page anymore, but I'll work with Kenny Omega, it does make sense that you could create two independent shows. It's got to be expensive.
Why? I mean,
Yeah,
the only expense would be how much set design he wants to change and if he wants to have different belts.
Well, do you think that they would continue to tour everybody together and just, okay, so for 2 hours we're taping Dynamite, then it's Rampage, then it's Collision, you know, whatever they call the shows. They just all go to the same location, or?
I'm pretty sure the next one's supposed to be live as well.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like,
Are you hearing him?
I am not. Rob, are you there?
it keeps dropping.
Yeah, he keeps cutting out.
Weird.
keeps going. Boop, boop, boop. Can you hear me now?
I do. We hear you, sir, loud and clear.
I don't know.
Listen, they have enough people on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
You could split it into two and run it as two independent shows. And that the only time they get together is now Tony Khan talking about that big, he wants to do a weekend show.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you alternated matches, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, whatever, then I'm okay with that. But if you split them and be done with it. Don't cross them back over.
So in that regard, if you split it, do you have 2 world titles?
Yes. 2 world titles.
Mm-hmm.
2
tags. 2 tag straps.
Yeah. 2 mid cards. You can keep as far as the 6-man. Well, maybe you can have the 6-man on one and say a hardcore title on the other or something.
Right.
You know, they don't necessarily have to mirror exactly, but you know, so you have the 6-man title on one and the women's tag title on the other.
Mm-hmm. TBS title on one, TNT title or women's title on the other.
Right.
Yeah, and you get the TNT on one, and then you got the Mid-Atlantic, All-Atlantic, IHOP title on the other.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it's like what Brian said. I mean, you're already traveling these people anyway. Mm-hmm. AEW doesn't travel as much as WWE, and WWE even does it where you get Raw or SmackDown. You don't get only your big stars will hop back and forth.
Right.
And so AEW does the same thing, and plus, it'd be a chance for a little bit more development of those that you don't see as much, because Dynamite and Rampage aren't going to be the same shows with the same people talking about the storylines. That's what it was at the beginning, Beginning, both shows are so different, you didn't see the same people.
Right.
But if anything, it's going to it'd be interesting to see if they start their brand split as WWE's trying to do their draft again, where Triple H came out and told us it's a game changer. We've heard that before. We've heard you coming out going, the fans have a voice.
No more authority figures.
Right. I personally feel like
now.
if they're gonna draft somebody from Raw or like
Skype
if you're gonna pull there.
Yeah, we're here, man. I'm sorry.
Damn. I can't tell if he's talking or not.
It's cutting him off. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I still show him on the call, but whatever.
I'm here, but I'm not talking anymore because I'm tired of repeating my fucking self.
I don't blame you. Damn it. Gotta love Skype.
I didn't mean to be the conversation stopper. Shit.
No, it's all right. It's just getting ourselves reset is all.
Damn. We're gonna screw up, Rob. Jackass.
With the draft, I mean, with what we've seen in WWE, like I said earlier, they've split tag teams. They've, killed stables off because it just wasn't what Vince wanted at the time. But Triple H's view, and maybe he is in charge of creative, maybe he's not. I mean, we've seen evidence of both. I think, frankly, it's probably a Triple H has his ideas, and then Vince just goes over top and says, no, we'll do this. And then, maybe he gives
Bruce
it back
Pritchard.
to him on different shows. I don't know.
It's Bruce Pritchard that goes, oh, hey, Vince, this is what Triple H wants to do. What do you think?
Right.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the WWE has never pulled off a draft properly. So there's no reason to think they're going to pull this one off.
Yeah.
The only one that was surprising was the first one, or maybe the second one, when they were like, "Ooh!" After that, you're like, "This is bullshit."
They just had so many possibilities with the first one, and they botched that. I mean, they split up the NWO, they split up the Dudleys. All of these big name attractions that they split up, you're like, ugh, okay. And then you're forcing writers that have never worked with talent in those realms, like as a singles performer and all of that, to come up with stuff. You're literally putting everybody to the test. It's never been done before, I'll give you that, but come on. Somebody could have just sat down and said, well, let's try to be a little safer. Meanwhile, Austin Theory is on Monday Night Raw right now, and still nobody cares. Blah.
You even had him beat Cena, and nobody gives a shit.
Is it me, or was Cena just like in slow motion against Theory? It just didn't. It was. I mean, it was clear that he hadn't been in the ring in a while.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
It reminded me of you go to the indie show and you got that veteran that comes out and does the match just exact the way they've done it for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, all right, I'm on autopilot because I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm here for the paycheck.
I got to go finish filming Peacemaker. Let's do this. I can go.
Right. I made the mistake of telling them that I'd be available, and damn it, here I am.
More WrestleMania gripes. All this and more on Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio.
Stan's Wrestling Therapy Show number 2.
Right. In today's episode of Stan Has Feelings, we'll talk about the inner workings of his mind. And now everyone's tuned off. Bye.
You should leave the jokes to other people.
Well, I mean, when you come up with one, buddy, you let me know, and I'll.
Yeah, no. You be the straight guy. Me and Rob will supply the laughs.
Well, the jerk store called, and they're all out of you. Thank you, George Costanza.
Because I bought extra.
You got a cricket button.
No, I don't. Even if I did, you wouldn't hear it.
I need you to get one.
Get a cricket
All
sound.
I got to do is say hit crickets, and you'll hit crickets.
You'd have to text that for it actually to come off properly. Otherwise, it's just like, hit cricket stand. Okay.
No, but that's what would make it funny.
You have to hear the dejected reaction.
Yeah, you would say something, be like, Rob or me would be like, saying, just hit the crickets.
And now we pause.
Oh, wow, I actually found one.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Hit it. Let's see if we can hear it.
Okay. Hang on. Let me hit play again. You let me know if you hear it.
Did you hit play?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, okay.
But that's cool. You got one.
I just have to download it to the board.
Oh. That's funny.
So you don't have one?
No, I found it on YouTube. Okay, so keeping with the draft theme, who is your figurehead of the new brand if you're drafting AEW? Is it Adam Cole? Is it Kenny Omega? Do you keep Kenny Omega on regular AEW? What do you do?
So I would hope that Khan wouldn't do a draft. Because the way he books, he could very easily be like, look, these matches are on Wednesday, these matches are on Saturday. And then without drafting, split the roster. You see what I'm saying?
Help me out. I'm not following.
So if I showcase the Elite on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's say Punk comes back and is Punk and FTR and the rest over on Saturday, I don't have to have a draft. I just
how do
have
you
two
develop the
separate
brand?
shows. What do you mean develop a brand? I've already developed a brand. Now I've just split. It's not necessarily a brand. It's the same company. You have two shows and two rosters are featured on each show.
Well, then you wouldn't split the titles.
So do you honestly buy into the fact that Raw and SmackDown are two different brands? Or are they two shows of the same company that showcase or are supposed to showcase different talents?
Well, yeah, that's what they're supposed to be, but that's what I'm saying is if we're looking at splitting the roster, we were just talking a few minutes ago about, creating a new title or world title and having tag titles on both shows, that kind of thing. So my question was more about that. So would you just not do that?
No, I guess I didn't. I don't need a draft to have this thing for you to tell me, oh, this roster is on Wednesday, this roster is on Saturday, right? I can have two different world titles. If you want to call it a brand, call it a brand, whatever. But because I can focus, Wednesday, I know I have the Elite and the BCC and, some of these other guys here. Oh, and they have titles. And then, here's a group of guys on Saturday, and they have titles. They're not two different brands. They're two shows of the same company. Mm-hmm. And they have titles. I mean, really, all the WWE did to distinguish between two brands is the color of the belts. Mm-hmm. One was red, one was blue. But because they've always drifted back and forth, even in the beginning, because it didn't take them long to do it, they're not two brands. Two brands would be clear and distinct and separate. Nike, Adidas. They're both shoes, but they're different brands.
Right.
They're not going to cross over. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could get lucky, like a Nike and Croc crossover or something. That would be kind of cool.
There you go.
Give me some Croc Air Ones.
They'll call them Crikeys.
Yeah, give me some Croc Air Ones or something. But you see what I'm saying? Like I don't need you as a promoter to try and feed me something and then you not go through with it. I can watch Wednesday show, even though it's under the AEW banner. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is Dynamite. Oh, these are who I can expect to be on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, watch AEW, what'd you say, Collision?
Yeah, I think that's the title of the show they're going to have on Saturdays.
Okay, Collision with this roster and these titles. And to me, it'll be two different shows. Mm-hmm. But it's still under the same umbrella. It's kind of like with ROH, in my opinion, right? ROH has a distinctive roster. ROH has titles. They have a different name, but at the end of the day, they're still owned by AEW.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, you're just going to add a third show, and it'll fall under the AEW umbrella. But it can be run completely different for all I care. And I'm not really going to put anything to what happens on Wednesday night with what happens on Saturday night, which is the way it should have been with Raw and SmackDown.
And I think they tried, but they just keep getting in their own damn way.
Yeah.
You know, I think a good way to decide who's on what brand is you have like the casino battle royal, but the mats on the outside of the ring are the color of the brand. Depending on where you get thrown out is what brand you're on. Booyah. And you probably didn't hear any of that, but hey.
No, I did. I'm just thinking about it. I mean, that's a different way to do it. Or he could just as easily just say, okay, hey, Saturday's the new championship, and this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't necessarily have to draft it per se, like put a televised draft. I think I get what you mean by that, Brian. And maybe the Casino Battle Royal is one way to do it. I love that Battle Royal. That's one of my favorite ones that they do, so I'm cool with it.
Or, you know, better yet, to Rob's point, hey, you want to get crazy? Let's bring in CM Punk's dog.
Wherever Larry poops.
Yeah, and we'll let Larry decide who goes on what show.
Oh, my God. Eight's been a guy. Oh, all right, I don't do that too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't need like the draft and split rosters or whatever. I don't need that. Just split them. You ain't got to explain to me why you put somebody here. Just split them. Oh, just so you know, CM Punk's back and he'll be on Saturday. FTR, they're on Saturday. House of Black, they're on Saturday. Oh, you want to see Will Hobbs? Tune in to Dynamite on Wednesday.
I would think it would make better sense to kind of promote it, but I guess you'd have to. Again, it doesn't have to be a draft. I see your point there, but how do you distinguish it? I guess you just announce it and let it be that.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are you promoting? Oh, we've got a second show now?
Right. So build to whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, but
third or fourth show now.
What build would you be looking for? Because outside of a tournament for new titles, what build would there be? Oh, we have a new show on, I'm assuming, probably a different channel. Wait, maybe not.
CNN.
Yeah, it's 6:05 on, TBS. Tune in here, where you're going to see such stars as CM Punk, FTR. Right? I don't need the contract signings. I don't need spin the wheel, make the deal. I don't need none of it. Just, okay, well, who's on Saturday?
Everybody likes spin the wheel, make the deal. Come on now.
Well, again, these are little things that we've been programmed to have, and we don't need them because, again, shit, if it doesn't work out, if I do a draft and it doesn't work out, and then 6 months down the line, I'm crossing the rosters back over, we're going to say the same shit about them that we've been saying about the WWE.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all had those. Just, Tony, put the people on whatever roster you want. Okay, this is where you see this guy. This is where you see this guy. We're not crossing over. Watch it if you want to watch.
Because guess what, Tony? You own it all anyway. That was very loud.
Yeah, that was loud. That was good, though. Because now I can tell you to hit it, and we know we can hear it.
I was just trying to find it. Oh, look, Trish is back.
Oh, see, that one. Did Becky show up?
No, so I guess they're trying to use this as like Becky has a foot injury or something, but she tweets out that she wasn't going to be at Raw tonight. This was earlier
did
today.
Seth show up?
Did who?
Seth Rollins. Was he at Raw tonight?
Seth was at Raw.
Was he? Oh, wow.
He beat the piss out of The Miz.
Oh, poor Miz. So that's what we're doing now?
Everybody beats up Miz.
I wouldn't have showed up if I was Seth personally. After what they did to him, 2 weeks ago?
That was crazy. He comes out, they got his music playing, crowd's going nuts, and then during commercial, they're like, nope, that's it, bye. Like, really?
Yeah. Well,
That's
they,
screwed up.
yeah, during commercial, they're like, we don't have enough time for this segment. Yet the cameras come back on. He's like, just standing in the ring still.
right. Just random ass mic drop and he's done. Like, what the hell?
He was trying to figure out how to walk in that outfit.
Yeah. I'd have been like, look, when you get your shit straight, I'll come back to work. But until then, I'm sitting at home.
Well, Drew McIntyre, his contract's set to be up soon. He blacked out his Twitter. Hasn't shown up since he wasn't at, was he at SmackDown? I don't think he was. Be a big mistake you start letting these people go if you can't start making better use of them. Let Drew Galloway show up on Ring of Honor or AEW. That would be great. Let him show back up in Impact. That'd be great too.
So I see your point. However, well, maybe it'd be different if they do have two different brands. But once again, I think AEW started to get top heavy, a little top heavy.
They are. I agree with you. They are hiring too many people. I absolutely agree with that.
No,
yes,
I don't
bring in the right talent at the right times, but
yes,
you're hiring. Like, bringing back Punk is good in the long run. I wonder, though, if it's going to help his locker room. But I also wonder how much of that is true and how much of it is bullshit. Was it really a brawl, or was it really more of a, hey, we need an angle to keep you separate from everybody while you heal? What if we did this? Because nobody else has ever done this before. It's the kind of thing that Tony Khan could put together. Because he's done a lot of that kind of crazy shit.
No, I mean, I think something like that would have come from, like, to me, that's almost like something Jericho would come up with.
It is. It really is. Jericho is the kind of guy to be like, well, no one else has ever done this.
Yeah.
We'll all swear to it. We'll all sign an NDA. Whatever you want us to do, we'll make it look as legit as possible. Ace Steel's probably like, you know what? I need time off anyway. Sure.
I mean, we're going to have to wait for like season 20 of Dark Side of the Ring or something.
Brawl out.
I mean, I can only hope, even if it was real, everybody is intelligent enough to know that this thing could, like, take AEW to a next level.
I mean, they got to.
And they could make money off of it.
I mean, I don't care how much you hate each other. God, there was rumors that Rock and Austin hated each other at one point. They still went out there and made millions. Hell, Brett and Shawn, go back further. You know what I mean? They legitimately hated each other.
Yeah.
But they still went out there and said, you know what? We're going to make $1 million tonight. Hit me in the face, Brett. Like, okay. You know, like,
yeah.
it's I as a fan, I love it because it keeps you watching, it keeps you wondering. But as a business person, I wonder, well, how much of it is truth and fiction anymore? But you don't get very many of those kind of moments, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is weird. I love FTR, though, where they're like, everybody should just play along and make money.
Yeah. Have you listened at all to Dax's podcast?
No, not yet. Mm-mm.
I don't know who Matt Kuhn is. He's done a lot of podcasts, but I don't really know a lot about him. He kind of feeds into Dax trying to make him say stuff. And it's really actually kind of irritating. Like, if you ever listen to Kevin Nash talk, he does one with Sean Oliver, and Sean just kind of talks to him. They have just straight conversation, and it just randomly goes in different directions, and they cover things. versus like Conrad, who asks legit direct questions on a topic. This guy Matt Kuhn is just like, hey Dax, if CM Punk came back and he's really unhappy, does that make you mad? Like he's trying to guide him down this weird ass path. Like I hate that. That being said, though, Dax is making statements like, hey, Jim Cornette can say whatever the hell Jim Cornette wants to say, but we don't have to agree with him. Cash Wheeler says the same thing on Twitter. It's hard to believe that in 2023, Cornette is still keeping people talking like that.
Why though? I mean, again, if you look at the greatest minds since you've been alive in pro wrestling, wouldn't Cornette be in the top 5?
Yeah, I would say so.
You know, if Paul Heyman wasn't on WWE TV and had a podcast.
Oh, Heyman would have people pissed off just as much as Vince Russo does.
Sure. But Heyman is smart enough to know that if I piss them off today, they're going to tune back in next week.
Right.
You know, if you started a company tomorrow and say, hey, I need somebody to come in and be head booker, of all the free agents out there right now, you know as well as I do, you're going to call Cornette.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
like, look, bud, I'm bankrolling this. I'm going to give you the book. You just write it however you want.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to leave the house.
I have a feeling that call would end with, thank you, fuck you, bye.
Yeah. But again, the world
always
thing,
like to payday.
yeah, the wild and wacky world of pro wrestling. You never know. FTR could be calling Jim Cornette.
So
Getting tips from Cornette. You never know, like who knows who.
The internet would pop if Cornette showed up in FTR's corner 1 week on Dynamite
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, I mean, if I was Tony Khan and I had a match, like the biggest match of FTR's career, I would throw big money at Cornette. Look, man, I just need you to come out with your tennis racket and your coat, and you're going to help them win, and then you can cut whatever promo you want, and then you can walk away. But I'll give you a hell of a payday for it. And again, don't announce it, because as soon as it hits on, Twitterverse, everybody's going, oh crap, where's my remote? I now got to pay $50 for AEW All Out because Jim Cornette just showed up. That's the type of guy Cornette is.
Do you think that if Cornette was to show up on AEW TV, that it would, as they say, pop a rating?
Yes. You can. All right, so let's put it to you like this. Stan, you watch Dynamite, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's say let's try and play this scenario out somehow. All right, let's say you got to work late, right? Mm-hmm. It's 8:30. You got your phone, your DVR and Dynamite for the night. You're on a conference call with the boss, right? So we have this little perfect storm going, right? Conference call with the boss. You have your phone. You're getting the updates. You're now, your DVR and Dynamite. Ding. Jim Cornette has just walked out with FTR on Dynamite. I want you to finish this scenario. What is Stan gonna do in that moment in time?
Yeah, but Stan's not the casual fan. Stan's already watching AEW when he has a chance. You know what I mean? So,
but again, AEW is built more for us than it is for a casual fan.
Right.
Right? What's the big thing they talk about that their audience doesn't grow? Because it's a niche audience built for us.
Right.
But again, Stan, who's at a conference call with his boss, his phone, who he wasn't paying attention to, and Dynamite's being recorded in the living room on the DVR. I know what Stan's probably going to do. Stan's probably going to freak out, and shortly about 30 seconds into this, when he reads it, is probably going to gasp or something and alert the boss that, oh, crap, I'm paying attention to my phone. Why should I be paying attention to you?
I just want to go on record and say that if you're listening, I would never do that. I would clearly focus on my job.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah. Like, I could almost see you, like, somehow getting your wife to bring the TV into the room or figuring out some way to get your cable provider on your iPhone or something so you can now watch what's going on.
I might actually have to, find a way to,
Oh, wait. I have to go to the bathroom. It's going to be a few minutes. I had bad Chinese for dinner. Sorry.
Just as long as I don't forget.
Please wave your hand if you want me to unmute my mic.
Then when Stan comes back, he's got the Bubba Rogers glasses on. He's got a fedora on his head.
Not the Bubba Rogers glass. Damn, you took it way back.
Yeah, their whole fan base would freak out.
Mm-hmm. Would that instantly turn them heel, you think, or would people pop for it and just go, "Oh my God, it's Cornette"?
They would pop. I mean, could Cornette pull off a straight heel turn? Yes, but I think Cornette is in that rare, company where, again, Ric Flair. Ric Flair could go out there and smack your grandmother. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to cheer him on.
Woo!
You're going to be like, put her in the figure four. Let's get it on. Where's Arn and Tully? Get them in here too. Let's just straight up drag her across the concrete.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
It is Ricky Morton, my own grandmother.
Yeah, but, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels was so good at being a bad guy, you loved him. Austin, The Rock. Cornette's in the same boat. Like, he can't. Paul Heyman. God, he's such a good bad guy, MJF. You love this guy as a bad guy. You just love him. He can't do no wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I'll even say this. MJF segment this past Wednesday where he was singing Pennies from Heaven. It was pretty damn funny.
Mm.
I don't care what anybody says. It was pretty damn funny.
Well, look at what he did at that event not too long ago where he nut shots the little kid.
Oh God, that was.
And
hilarious.
the little kid's over, is like 2 feet away, just like screaming in pain. His dad is smiling, and MJF is smiling. Yeah.
Only time I smiled all day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Literally though, but you know as well as I do, if Cornette come out, you'd be like, Here, Jim, let me load this thing. Now you just go and whop my wife up in the head. Do it like old school way.
I mean, I think another thing is the fact how much Jim Cornette has gone on record saying he can't stand certain people in AEW.
Right.
Would be an even bigger pop that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that I would purposely keep as secret as possible and then have them show up on pay-per-view.
Well, but again, with the brand split, if you put certain people on one brand or, whatever you want to call it, and then the ones that he really would want to work with on the other, you might be able to get him out on a Saturday at 6:05.
That's true. It'd be interesting to see what a Saturday show at 6:05 would do now.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
I mean, it's tough sledding no matter what. If you think about it, you're putting a new show out there. If you are truly doing a roster split, now you're gonna start it off. I kind of think you're probably right. You start it off as, hey, we got an AEW show on Saturday, and then you gradually move it to, you could see these guys here and these guys there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you would definitely have to load the Saturday show, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, you'd have to be doing it pretty consistently, because if you don't, the first weekend where you really just phone it in, you're not getting those fans back. They go, this sucks. I'm watching something else. Man, it's a lot of wrestling.
It is, but that's a good thing. I mean, that's without wrestling, man. Part of your soul is missing.
That's not wrong. It's crazy, but yeah, you're not wrong. It feels weird when there's not wrestling on TV. And no, I don't mean the repeats that Total Divas that my wife likes to watch. That's not wrestling.
That's funny.
Fight Forever still has no release date. I'm starting to wonder if we'll ever see this stupid-ass game.
Why?
Nordic THQ comes out and says, yeah, it's great that they said that they're expecting it to come out soon, that it's practically ready. It's really not, though. That's basically what they said. It's like, damn. Okay, guys.
But do you want them to rush a product and it being ass, or do you want to let it percolate a little bit and be something good?
It needs to percolate for at least 4 years.
Right, like they've had a little bit of time to develop it. What the hell else are they going to be doing here?
How much time have they had? They haven't had a lot.
They started putting it together in 20.
No, they formulated an idea in 20.
All right, so let's fast forward and say they started in 21. Still been almost 3 years.
Okay. All right, so let's take Diablo.
Diablo 4. Good call. Diablo
How long
4
has
has
that been in production?
Since 19. Still not out.
Okay.
Did start beta
Still not
in
out.
March.
Right. They're getting ready to. Now, again, the crazy thing is a game like Diablo hasn't really changed since the previous ones. It's just got better looking graphically.
Yeah.
Right?
And I will say Diablo 4 looks stellar.
Right. You know, sometimes you gotta let games build, or you turn into
oh no, he said let it play out again.
Franchise.
Damn it.
No, the 2K franchise.
Yeah. 2K20
right? Or the Madden franchise, or the NHL, or the NBA. You know, you're putting them out every year. And eventually they just turn into pure crap. Although I heard this year's 2K was a little bit better.
2K23?
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
The My Rise is a fun storyline. It is two different stories. One's a legacy and one's like you're an indie guy. So it's interesting. It is actually an interesting storyline. I do like what they did that. I haven't tried GM mode yet. I actually really enjoy watching Up, Up, Down, Down. Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze do a battle of the brands.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fun to watch. Woods did WCW, Breeze is WWE, and they drafted their rosters. One of them drafted Leviathan instead of Batista. And there's made-up characters in there, too. So you could draft, like, one of the made-up characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rush. I want a good game. If it takes me 5 years, it takes me 5 years. It won't be the first time I've waited for a game. The next Elder Scrolls, we've known about that forever today.
Yeah, with Elder Scrolls 6 still is. We don't even have a preview trailer for that. We got a
Well,
teaser of scenery
yeah,
when they announced they were working on it.
yeah. The next Witcher. We've had to wait on. What was the big one that just? There was something not too long ago that was going to come out or is getting ready to come out that's been in like production for 10 years or something crap like that. I forget what it was. You know, why rush? Let's let it simmer. Let's take it in. It's a return to THQ. If they get it right, it's worth the wait.
Damn. You know what? I am going to rename the title of the show to Let It Play Out.
Let it play out.
Or the semi-title, whatever the hell.
There you go. Let it play out.
Let it breathe, man.
You young whippersnappers have no patience.
Brian Flores Stan.
Y'all must be Gen Zers or something.
What? You realize
Y'all have
we're
no
on the same
patience.
generation there, right?
Yeah, I know. But y'all have no patience. You have no patience. No patience at all.
Damn entitled millennials.
Yeah.
Do this for me. Do this for me. No, we're not gonna.
Oh, y'all got to come over.
Get
I'll
off my
get y'all to
lawn.
come over to the house in probably about 3 weeks. We're going to build a front porch that I can sit on and just drink alcohol all day now that I'm going to retire.
Oh, is it official now, or is it?
Yeah, it's official. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Does
turned
proper
it in
people know?
today. Yeah, everybody,
Congratulations,
the
man.
proper people know I've turned it in. And
I didn't
now
want to spoil it.
let the games begin.
That's
Let the
awesome.
games begin.
Congratulations.
Yep.
You've earned it, man. I mean, you really have. You've worked your ass off, and now you
I'm
can
so fucking jealous.
That's just what you gotta go
FOMO.
through.
I got FOMO.
I'm going to let my hair grow out because my wife likes my longer hair. She doesn't know that for the first month I'm going to grow a beard and mustache.
Yes.
Just because I have never done it. I want to do it. And then we're going to build a porch, and I'm just going to sit on the porch and drink all day. Hopefully, as the school bus rolls by, I'll toast them as they go.
Brian's
know
gonna
what you
become
do
the
is
Hank Hill.
Brian, what I'm going to do is walk up to that random person working that does our profession right after I retire, going, man, what you got? That sucks, and walk away.
Nah.
My name's Brian, and I sell propane and propane accessories. Dang, man.
You look like about a size 7.5.
I'm gonna take a month off, and then we'll see where it goes.
That's crazy,
man. I'm not entertaining. I mean, I'll get me a job after this month, but this first month, so from June 1 to July 1, I'm not entertaining shit. I'm not putting applications. I'm going to take a fucking month off.
Wow.
Yeah, I read somewhere where, like, what I was thinking about doing when I retire, you have to be separated for, like, if you're separated for a year, then you could, like, basically do 2 careers. And I was like, I was like, but could I do almost nothing for a year officially, you know? Then if you do it for so long, you wouldn't go back and do anything.
As long as you're getting the right amount of money, I'm sure you could.
All I say, Brian, is when you do go back to doing whatever or go to do what's next, do what you want. Do what makes you happy.
Oh, I mean, I don't plan on doing anything but doing what I want.
And don't take no shit from nobody.
I don't take no shit from nowhere now, but if I only want to work 30 hours a week, then I fucking work 30 hours a week. And if I just say, no, I'm not coming in this week, I'm not going to go in this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty
That
jealous.
would be nice.
I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous as hell. I'm happy for you, but I'm jealous.
Yeah, if I decide to go work part-time at GameStop, I will go work part-time at GameStop. Get me some discounts on games.
Yeah.
And then I hope y'all come and turn in games, come and look at you funny and be like, what? It ain't me. It's a goddamn computer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't care what you think this
Yeah.
Elder Ring's worth. I give you $1.50.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
if you want credit, I can give you $3 for it.
$3.
If you want cash, it's $1.25. You take it or leave it.
Meanwhile, Brian's got every single brand new game, all the new consoles. He is the hookup.
Oh, he has the demos.
Yeah,
He got a demo. He can't talk about it if you don't know how it works.
That's right.
Yeah, he's great.
And he has enough swag to convince whoever the manager is to be like, you're right. I think you need to take it home.
Well,
and he'll be like, I'll tell you this. I'll take it home first. When I'm done playing, I'll bring it to you.
that's going to do it for us for this week for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio. Catch up with Brian at Vlad Dragul, C2C, VLADDRAGOOL,
Blah,
Catch
blah,
up.
blah.
Catch up with Rob at Rob Hefner, C2C. Catch up with me at Stan Grubb, and catch up with the show at C2C Radio Show and C2CRadioshow.com. We'll see you next week. Well, maybe we'll have a clearer view as to what the supposed roster split, brand split, whatever the hell we're going to call it, could be for AEW. But until then, have a good week. We'll see you next time.